Man, Cleveland Brown news continuing to fly, especially with the departure of Myles Garrett. And it has all the fans wondering, well, what's going on with Denzel Ward? If you got rid of Myles Garrett, you might as well get rid of Denzel Ward and gain even more draft capital as well. We got to get into what Andrew Berry had to say about it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated. Of course, let's get right into things. So, Andrew Berry claims that the Browns want to retain Denzel Ward, but people are not buying it. People aren't buying it because we heard
the unthinkable has already happened in Cleveland, but the absolute chaos tearing through the Browns organization is truly just getting started. The moment the front office pulled the trigger on a blockbuster trade sending Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams, they didn't just alter the trajectory of their defense, they completely shattered the trust of the entire fan base. Now, the dust hasn't even settled, and the media spotlight is violently pivoting toward the last remaining elite anchor in that locker room, Denzel Ward. If you think the front office is finished making massive, franchise-altering moves, you are fundamentally misunderstanding how this ruthless regime operates. The whispers of a defensive fire sale are growing louder by the minute, and insiders are already laying out the exact blueprint for how and when the veteran cornerback will be shipped out of town. We are about to break down the hidden truth behind Andrew Berry's latest press conference, the massive October trade deadline theory, and why Denzel Ward's own past comments prove he might already have one foot out the door. To truly comprehend the paranoia currently gripping the city of Cleveland, you have to look at the massive disconnect between what the front office says and what they actually do. Following the monumental Garrett trade, General Manager Andrew Berry stepped directly up to the podium and attempted to put out the massive public relations fire. He explicitly stated that Denzel Ward is a huge part of the team, that his communication has been excellent, and that the organization has absolutely zero intentions of trading him away. He tried to assure the fans that the team is not tanking and that all their competitive goals are still right in front of them. But here is the brutal, undeniable reality. Nobody with a working pulse actually believes a single word of that statement. The fan base just watched this exact same front office swear up and down that Myles Garrett was completely untouchable, only to trade him away the absolute second the Rams threw a premium package of draft picks on the table. The trust is completely broken, and Berry's words are currently viewed as nothing more than temporary corporate damage control designed to keep the fans calm. The timeline for a potential Denzel Ward departure is much more complex than a simple summer fire sale, and prominent NFL insiders are already mapping out the exact trajectory of how this could unfold. Insider Albert Breer recently broke down the situation with absolute precision, noting that while a trade might not be imminent right this second, it is far from impossible. Breer pointed out the harsh reality of the NFL calendar. Right now, in the early stages of the offseason, every team...
I'm saying how Myles Garrett wasn't going anywhere. We heard him saying that, and he's gone. So people believe that Denzel Ward will be the next to go. Okay, this is courtesy of, I believe this is Pro Football Focus or something like that. But anywho, it says the Browns agreed to trade longtime face of the franchise Myles Garrett in a stunning blockbuster trade with the Rams on Monday. It is unlikely the Garrett trade will start a fire sale in Cleveland, according to Jeremy Fowler. Veteran Denzel Ward is one player who's expected to stay put. Okay, here it says, considering Ward's relationship with Garrett, it will be interesting to hear his opinion on the trade. Back when Garrett asked out of Cleveland,
was fully healthy and incredibly optimistic about the depth of their own secondary. A desperate blockbuster offer is highly unlikely to materialize in June. But the landscape of the league violently shifts the absolute second training camp injuries begin to mount, or when an aggressive Super Bowl contender loses their premier shutdown corner in the early weeks of September. Breer's theory pinpoints the October trade deadline as the ultimate danger zone for Ward's future in Cleveland, because that is exactly when desperation forces general managers to dramatically overpay. But for the Browns to actually secure a massive, franchise-altering return for Denzel Ward, they have to completely rebuild the asset's perceived value around the league. Let's be entirely honest about the current state of Ward's stock. His recent injury history took a massive toll on his overall market value last season, While he is an undeniable elite talent when he is on the field, the inability to stay healthy has made opposing general managers incredibly hesitant to pull the trigger on a premium trade package. The front office knows this, which is exactly why keeping him for the first 8 games of the season is a calculated, high-stakes risk. Without Myles Garrett hunting the quarterback, the coverage in the secondary is going to be tested like never before. If Ward can string together a dominant, completely healthy start to the 2026 campaign, proving he is still the exact same shutdown corner who completely locked down elite receivers like Jamar Chase, his value will absolutely skyrocket. If he reestablishes his peak form, securing a desperate team's 2027 first-round draft pick becomes a highly realistic scenario. The precedent for desperate teams overpaying for elite cornerbacks has already been firmly established across the modern NFL landscape. We have seen massive, landscape-altering trades involving premium secondary talent in recent years, proving that front offices are more than willing to mortgage their future for instant defensive stability. Look at the historical hauls secured for true shutdown corners. Players demanding multiple first-round picks or massive packages of day 2 capital are not uncommon when a championship window is actively closing. The Browns front office is acutely aware of this market dynamic. They know that if a team with legitimate Super Bowl aspirations suddenly finds themselves with a glaring hole on the perimeter, the asking price for a healthy elite Denzel Ward will become absolutely astronomical, forcing Cleveland to answer the phone and execute the deal. The ripple effect of the Myles Garrett trade has also deeply impacted the psychological state of the Cleveland locker room, and Denzel Ward has previously made his own feelings incredibly clear on the matter. Months ago, when the initial
the request, he said, I want Myles Garrett. So Denzel Ward was very adamant about keeping Myles Garrett, and now he's gone. So will Denzel Ward be open to being moved? GM Andrew Berry claims that Denzel Ward is not going to be moved, but people aren't buying it because we literally watched and listened to you tell us that Myles Garrett wouldn't be moved and he's gone. So people feel like the same situation is about to happen with Denzel Ward. I think it's 50-50. I think depending on how he feels about the Myles Garrett situation, maybe he'll, be open to being moved. Maybe he just wants to stay put. He is from the area. So we'll see. They discussed this.
Whispers of a potential Garrett departure were just starting to surface. Reporters asked Ward how he would react to losing the defensive anchor. Ward did not issue a standard corporate denial or blindly pledge his lifelong allegiance to the franchise. Instead, he candidly admitted that trading away a player of Garrett's caliber would absolutely force him to reevaluate the direction of the organization and rethink his own situation. He purposefully left the door cracked open. Now that the nightmare scenario has actually become a reality, you have to wonder if Ward even wants to be part of a defense that just surrendered its ultimate identity and pass-rushing soul. The most terrifying aspect of this entire situation for the Cleveland faithful is the completely ruthless, unsentimental nature of the current front office. For years, the media has tried to paint the narrative that the organization deeply cares about public relations, hometown loyalty, and keeping fan-favorite players in the building. But the track record proves the exact opposite. This regime has shown absolutely zero hesitation when it comes to moving on from beloved foundational pieces. If they were willing to absorb the catastrophic national PR hit of trading away a generational, Hall of Fame talent like Myles Garrett, they will not lose a single second of sleep over trading a hometown kid like Denzel Ward. The front office operates on pure, cold analytics and asset management. Loyalty and sentimentality do not factor into their long-term calculus whatsoever. The final, controversial element of this entire saga revolves around the incredibly flawed way the National Football League values player availability. It is a deeply frustrating reality of the business that players with extensive injury histories are heavily penalized on the trade market, while players entangled in severe off-field legal trouble are routinely offered massive second chances. The league will completely tank a player's value if they suffer a string of unavoidable physical setbacks. Yet general managers consistently display remarkable forgiveness for catastrophic off-field decisions that should end careers. Denzel Ward is an elite, high-character professional, but his injury record is currently the only thing standing between him and a blockbuster trade out of Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns are officially operating in uncharted territory, and the entire defensive foundation is currently resting on a razor's edge. Denzel Ward will likely start the season in brown and orange, but the absolute second he proves his elite health, the trade rumors are going to ignite into an absolute wildfire. The front office has already proven they are willing to completely blow up the roster for future assets, and the October trade deadline is rapidly approaching.